Welcome back. We're in Genesis chapter 30, verse 25. Let's go. Genesis 30, verse 25. This is Jacob's agreement with Laban. It came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away, that I may go to my own place and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go, for you know my service which I have done for you." Right? So Jacob has been working for Uncle Laban for about 14 years. He went to find a wife, fell in love with Rachel, set out to marry her. Uncle Laban switched and put in his other daughter, Leah. So then he had to serve another 7 years for Rachel. So 14 years has been. He's like, I'm done. I've got a lot of kids. I got 11 sons and a daughter right now. So I've got 12 children at this point. You're paying me well, but I just need more. And I feel like, for me, I feel like Jacob has that entrepreneurial spirit. He's like, I don't want to work for you anymore. I know how to do this. I'm really good at it. In fact, I've made you rich by raising all these all your herds so well, and I can easily go out and do it on my own. So that's what I'm going to do, okay? So it's time for us to split up. Right? You see this in business all the time. Someone's like, okay, I got the experience I needed in sales. I got the experience I needed in accounting and finance, whatever it is. I know this business. I'm going to take my chance. I'm going to go out, work for myself, hopefully make more money. Of course, I'm taking the risk. So that's essentially what in my mind, because I have the mind of an entrepreneur, that is what is going on here. So it came to pass, Rachel born Joseph. So they just had their 11th son, their 12th child. And Jacob's telling them, send me away. I'm ready to roll. Give me my wives and my children. So, right, don't hold back anything from me. And by the way, I've given you 12 grandchildren, 11 grandsons, and that is just an amazing thing. And you can hang out and you can play with them, but we got to roll. And he served him. He's reminding Uncle Laban of what all he's done for him, and reminding him, you know the service which I've done for you. And a lot of times employees do this with their employers, like, don't you understand how much I've done to grow this business, right? Treat me fairly, or let me go, and don't, require me to have this horrible non-compete. And I'm not saying all non-compete agreements are bad. Some of them are silly. Some of them are good. That's another conversation for another day. I just brought that up because it came to my mind. Verse 27, and Laban said to him, "Please stay, if I have found favor in your eyes, for I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake." So Laban is not a believer, but he's saying the Lord has blessed me for your sake. So he's feeling blessed by God because of what Jacob has done for him, the way that Jacob has built up this business, right? It is he's raising sheep and goats, and it's a business, right? It's truly a business. They go out, they breed them, they raise them, they sell them as livestock, they make their money, and they rinse and repeat. So he's made money. He's got more flocks than he's had. He's got everything going for him, and he knows it's because of Jacob, and he knows that Jacob loves God, and that's why he says that the Lord has blessed me for your sake. So this is an employer finding value in his employee. This is a father or a person finding value in his son-in-law, but still not respecting him enough, still trying to connive and deceive and take advantage of him, which we're going to see here in a minute. Verse 28, then he said, "Name me your wages, and I will give it." So that's a lie right there. We'll find out. He goes against this, but what if Jacob had said, "Give me everything"? Would he have done it? No, it's got to be within some bounds. And we also know that Jacob wasn't very trustworthy based on what he did to Isaac and what he did to Esau. And we know that Laban is not very trustworthy because of what he did with the old switcheroo with Leah and Rachel. So as an application in our own lives, we should live out integrity and character and honesty so that people can take us at our word. Now, some people are going to take advantage of that in your life. And those are some of the hits that we're just going to have to take and turn the other cheek. We want to be cautious about it. We want to be prayerful about it. But at some point, we are going to be taken advantage of. And it's just one other thing. The devil wants people to take advantage of other people, especially Christians, people who follow Jesus, Christ followers. And So we want to be cognizant of that. We want to make sure that when we say something, it's true, that our word is our bond, that a handshake is good enough. Yes, we're going to do contracts. We live in a society where we do that. But even without the contract, we should still follow through on what we do, right? Let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you say something, do it. Follow up on it. Fulfill that obligation, that promise, that contractual agreement, even if it's only oral. And so 29, so Jacob said to him, you know how I have served you and how your livestock has been with me. Basically what he's saying, okay, you're telling me to give you a price. I'm telling you, reminding you of how wealthy you've gotten, how incredible this business has become because of me as your worker, right? Verse 30, for what you had before I came was little and has increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming. And now, when shall I also provide for my own house? So this, in today's language, is the salesman, if you will, saying, okay, you paid me 20% commissions or whatever it is. Pick your number. Let's just do 10%. Make it a simple number. And I brought in $3 million. You're going to pay me $300,000. And what does the employer typically do? They say, oh, you did great. Did so good. In order to get 10% again, you have to hit a goal of $600,000. You mean I have to sell twice as much to make the same amount? It's a typical thing that goes on in the sales world. It's really hard for salespeople because they keep having that bar raise, that quota raise, just to make the same. And essentially, that's kind of what's going on here. He's saying, you have all this because of me. Before I came, you didn't have much. Now you have everything. You should want to give me a ton. Besides, I'm family. I'm married to your daughter. Wait, I'm married to 2 of your daughters. Wait, I'm married to 2 of your daughters and their maidservants. So I'm actually married to 4 people, 2 of them related to you and 2 of them who are working for your daughters and now me and now married to me, right? So he's like, I'm family. I made you wealthy. Right? Let's work out a good deal because we both win in this situation if we don't take advantage of each other. And he's saying, when shall I also provide for my own house? It's his time, right? The people in that culture and a lot of cultures around the world would have lived at home, oftentimes built a little house on the back of their parents' house or in-laws' house, and typically the parents' house probably, and then they could go out on their own when the time was right. And you'll see that in the U.S. sometimes too, where people will live at home. Usually not after they get married, but sometimes in many cultures they do live at home until they, even after they're married, until they're kind of financially set. And it makes sense to go out on their own because it's a risk and it's expensive. And in America we kind of overlook that because we have just so much luxury and privilege, if you will, from a financial standpoint, because we're the most wealthy country in the history of the world. And we lose sight of that. It's so easy to lose sight of that and get jealous of people and things when right here we have more than 99.99% of the world and the people in the history of the world. Even the wealthy people, just go back, 75, 85, 100 years. And those people may not have even had a car, or their car was outdoors and they were all dirty and grimy by the time they got there. They didn't have all the sanitary things and that we have today that 100 years ago or 130 years ago, I don't know when the airplane was invented, but they didn't even have that. Today everybody can fly anywhere around the world. So just bringing some points. And verse 31, so he said, what shall I give you? And Jacob said, you shall not give me anything. If you do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flocks. So what he's saying is, here's the deal. I'm going to make a proposal for you. And I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans a little bit. He's saying, if you just give me a few of your flock, a few of your sheep, a few of your goats, you keep all the rest. Then I'll help feed your flocks and stuff for a while, and then you let me go. Right? That'll be my small wages, because you have so much. That'll be my small wages, and then I'll roll with my family, your grandkids. Verse 32, Jacob says, let me pass through all your flock today, removing from there all the speckled and spotted sheep. Right? The speckled and spotted sheep were fewer. There were not as many of them, and they were considered lesser. They weren't as in high demand, right? If you go to a cattle auction, and I'm no expert at cattle or anything, but if you go there, certain cattle will fetch a higher price than others. These are like the lower price, the bottom shelf. Let's just call it a grade D. Again, I don't know the industry. Let's just say it's grade A, B, C, or D. And this is like the worst of the grades. They're just not worth that much. He's saying, give me those. And then he says, and these shall be my wages. I forgot the brown, and the brown ones among the lambs. And the spotted and speckled ones among the goats. So he's kind of setting them out and saying, here's the sheep, here's the lambs, here's the goats. Basically, give me the lowest class, the most undesirable of each of them, and these should be my wages. Tomorrow we'll pick up in verse 33 and carry that on. It's quite interesting what's going to go on right here. Jacob's trying to make a fair deal, even more fair for Laban. Laban said, basically, name your price, you got it. Jacob's like, there's no way you're even going to honor this, so I'm not going to ask for everything. I'm just going to ask for a little bit. And we're going to see that Laban just connives him or deceives him and cheats him again. So we'll pick up on that tomorrow. The challenge will just to be, think about being true to your word. If there's anybody recently that you haven't been true to your word on, maybe it's time to go and talk to them. If there's anything that you're thinking about not being true to your word on, think about talking to God and praying to him about that. Lord, help us to be true to our word. Help us to be honest. Help us to be of high integrity and high character, godly character, Lord, that when people see us and work with us, it feels different. And that makes them attracted. And they want to ask questions. And they want to learn, and we have the opportunity to teach at that moment. But help us to put ourselves out there, Lord, understanding that someone's going to try to take advantage of our honesty and our kindness. But Lord, we pray for your protection from those people who do. In your amazing name, amen. This podcast brought to you in part by the Portfolio Protection Store, where smart investors go to protect their life savings from stock market losses. Visit our website to register for our webinar, theportfolioprotectionstore.com. The webinar is about portfolio protection and safe money ideas for ages 50 plus. Visit theportfolioprotectionstore.com. Located in Austin, Texas. License number 2887886.